So we have the Easter holidays tomorrow. So I think in the US they just do Friday, don't they? I don't know if they do Monday. But in Europe they do the Friday and the Monday. And in Asia, here in Australia, we also do the Friday and the Monday. So Trading Lounge will take Friday off and Monday off. If the US does trade on the Monday, well then I'll cover that on the Tuesday. But yeah, I'll double check, and I might do a video for the Monday for the indices and the stocks. Okay, so just let me double check on that. Okay, so obviously coming into holidays, we're going to see, less volume coming into the markets, folks moving out of the market, that's all sort of natural. When they come back from holidays, it normally sort of picks up as well. They all come back refreshed and chirpy and pick it up, and off we go again to the upside. Of course, that's not always the case, and in what the chart that we're looking at here, you can see that I've got the top up here for the NASDAQ as an ABC pattern to the upside here. Picking tops is a bit of a mug's game, but I do need to point out at certain points along a wave count where we are at risk, and we are at risk at this point here in either way. Now, I'm not saying this is the top of the market here. I've put the splash page out as topping because simply I can count a bit rough in here, but I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then we can count 5 waves up here. So now we're looking to see if we get 5 waves down here. So we're just sort of shooting the breeze on it, really. If we are going to turn bearish, the move down here, we want to see, I'll just draw it large here for a moment. We want to see 5 waves down, which we don't have just yet. And I think we're just in wave 4 here, but we'll take a closer look at that, of course. And the ABC pattern here. So if we can count, or if you can count, and you're confident that you've got 5 waves here, that means that you'll be able to short on the 50-60% retracement level over here. You'll be able to short under here. You'll be able to short under here. When you do these shorts under these things and these shorting here, always gravitate over to the closest largest number and work a classic trading levels pattern as a trade setup, so you can manage your risk to the downside. So yeah, look, I'm always dubious about picking tops, so I can be totally wrong, but the point is don't look at it as being right or wrong. Don't marry it. Don't become attached to anything. And we just go step by step and step by step. We can see the stochastics here are pretty low at the moment. That's pretty low based on this particular chart at the moment. So it kind of looks bullish. I was expecting a dance across the 13,000. I've made a few mistakes in there. I'm not perfect. But we are getting that, and we'll be able to see now that, with a little bit of patience and a bit of care, we'll be able to see if that becomes the resistance here. And also too, that, let's just assume that we do get 5 waves down here, right? We've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 so far. Let's assume we do get 5 waves down here. Then we may just get an ABC pattern here, and then we could move up again. That's the truth of the matter. Do you know what I mean? So really, to confirm the bearish move here, we would need to move past 3 waves here. So it requires a little bit of thought. We can play to win on the short side. That means that if we do get 5 waves here, then we can look to short in, build positions in this move here, but we wouldn't want to overdo it. You know what I mean? We either take some profit down here on that after 5 waves down, or we can leave some skin in the game. Yeah, because when you get 5 waves, as I mentioned before, it could work out that we get a nice 5 waves like this coming down So this would be just wave 1 here, for example. Wave 2 would go down for 3, 4, 5. So we can get something like that, but we could also get something that's like 1 and 2 here, 1 and 2 here, that gets a bit of an overlap and could easily be thought of as an ABC correction, and then another 1 and 2 here, this type of thing, you know. So it can become quite difficult to navigate through all of this. And as I've mentioned before, it's really a case of trading less, but also we'll do our best to work the trends as well. So as I mentioned yesterday, we had a full moon. I know that's a bit sort of freaky, but it's interesting when you study those sorts of things, you know. I was looking at the moon cycles back in from the 1929 top, you know, and they weren't much different from the 1987 top as well. So you see these things sort of roll over. So you kind of, you know, in some of the markets, you know, metal markets and things like that, you kind of look to trade long into that full moon and then sort of exit at that particular point, you know, on that sort of full moon and so on. A little bit weird. I don't understand it, but I try to keep an eye on a lot of different things without getting too, you know, esoteric about the situation. But that's that. Anyway, look, there's a possible top here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the thing. So that's what we're working at the moment. Now, the thing is that this 13,000 here is a very important number to me in terms of the trading levels. It can be viewed as a major trading level as well. And the market is doing all the right things here in terms of a bullish move. It hasn't rejected this level yet, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. But as I mentioned, I'm expecting to have another move down here to give us this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then the ABC pattern, and then another 5 down. So we can look to short that. So we're going to go in and have a look at that. I won't be looking at the S&P in this particular video. We'll do that in the next video. So I want to go to 1,000. That's the bearish count. I won't go to the bullish counts here either, but this is basically where we're at the moment. So from this wave 4 here, as 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, fourth, fifth for the third, the fourth, and the fifth here. They could probably go here, of course, as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to see a lot of stocks doing the same as this as well. Now, with stocks, there's always, you know, there's always the black sheeps, and, you know, different stocks are doing different things as well. We've got the earnings coming up. I did put the earnings on a lot of the stocks, and it does seem that they're around the 24th of this month. But we know that the banks will be earlier, so they'll be around the, I can't remember now, 13th, 14th there. So we'll need to keep a bit of an eye on that. And also too, next week, just seeing what comes out of the gates and some of the smaller stocks as well. So in this case here, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2. And then the third wave down, the fourth wave here at the 38.2%. So we still need, you know, I could look at this as an ABC correction here, but it's as a C wave here, it's rather sharp, because normally when I'm talking about corrections, we normally see wave A sharp, wave B here, and then wave C on a bit more of an angle. But in this case, we can see, well, that's a bit of a cascading waterfall there, isn't it? So it's got the personality of a third wave. So what we're kind of looking for, and I can get this wrong quite easily, but wave 5 to come down, where will it come down to? Not quite sure here, but there will be some sort of ABC correction eventually with that. And this is the one that we want. We want to be able to confirm 5 waves down, and then we want to see a corrective pattern here. And once again, the C wave here should be a bit lazier. That will also be helpful as well, because if it's like that, it's like, whoa, I'm not going to short that. Do you know what I mean? The lazier it is, the better, you know. And obviously this will become a supply zone here for this first move up here, the wave 4 one, let's do the wave 4 here, and this will be the second zone here. So the lower end will probably be about the 50-60% retracement level there. But really, it's kind of about this number being rejected as well. And that's something that we can look to view at this point. So this is basically the pattern that we'd be looking for with most of the markets as well. Now, obviously, some markets, you know, they on an intraday basis, they can all sort of top together, but they could all have, many of them can have different types of wave structures as well. And, you know, a lot of the time I get it wrong, you know, in terms of doing all of this, you know. So, you know, I don't know, I mean, just make sure you sort of, you know, work your own mind as well within all of this, you know, that's really important, you know. So anyway, that's the NASDAQ. That's basically the picture that we're looking at with markets. Now, some markets may make new highs. So when this rally comes here, some markets could make new highs. Some markets will have this 5-wave structure down. There's going to be a really mixed bunch at the top here. Okay, so like I said, I'll probably get them wrong. But at least I've put the flag up and saying I can count 5 waves up, and some of them don't top very well and all those sorts of things. So anyway, let's cruise along. So I have put these things here. Some of them have confirmed their reporting, and some are just estimated times for this. But I have noticed they're all around the 25, 26, 27. But the banks will be earlier. I need to double check on that again. So and I'll keep adjusting these here as well. So with Apple here, I kind of got to call in a top. So wave 3, 4, and 5 up here for this, because of this sharp move down here. Now, you know, can I be wrong here as a top? Absolutely, I can be wrong, you know. And can I be wrong in counting this down here? Do I need to make all of this the 3rd wave here and this the 4th wave over here? Possibly. You know, so we don't have to really concern ourselves too much at this particular point in time. You know, I have counted 5 waves down of 1 and 2, and then, you know, I've counted all these little moves here, but I could still get it wrong, you know. So I'll just double check on this here. I'll just do a little bit of work here. I'm going to have a look at the bigger picture on Apple as well. So it's above the 38.2%. So if you see this market that's up at the, well, it's at the 50 here. We'll just put this in here at the 62%, roughly. So really at 165, which is the lower end of group 2. We've got a bit of a gap there as well. So we could put this here as, just copy this. We can put this here as wave 1 here and wave 2 over here for this. Now let's go and have a look at the bigger picture. Now you have to remember that this particular stock and NVIDIA, they're some of the strongest stocks in the market, right? So as I've mentioned before, with all these stocks, there's 2 things going on. So from the all-time high to the all-time low in this current large correction that we've been sort of having, we know that some have gone up here, some can pull back and a wee way and then continue to the upside. Some of them will have deeper corrections and then move up here. The other ones that are really, you know, that have come down, that have only moved up a little way here, done some type of correction here, like Google, Microsoft, those sort of things. They're ready to come down probably. And of course the banks are just cascading down. So and they've got further to go. So there's 2 things going on in the markets. That's how I sort of see it. So it's not, they're not all the same, you know. The more fearful the market is, then the more they are the same, you know. That's what I sort of normally find. So anyway, with this here, we're going to go from 100 ticks, and we're going to go out and just sort of shoot the breeze on this one a little bit, just for ideas. I know that's going to be a little bit sort of confusing. So we're going to be looking at it in bullish terms and bearish terms. So this is one way of looking at it in bullish terms, is having a look at 1 and 2 here and moving up for wave 3 here. Is that possible? Sure, it's possible. We haven't, there's no reason to think for just taking this, just looking at this as black and white and not comparing it to the rest of the world, so to speak. Yeah, we can count 5 waves up here. You know, there are stocks like Tesla and Meta that started their runs later here, but they've basically got 5 waves up here, you know. Like Meta could be topping out here, and you know, so their pullbacks can be over here. Can we look at this as some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, we could do that, and I have been doing that as well. So I've got that count there. So I've got a few like bullish counts on it, but at the same time here, we also need to look at this on the bearish side here, and look at it like this too. So if the NASDAQ's got a top in it, you know, it may not have, but if it has, well, then how do you look at Apple being bearish? Well, quite simply, it would be the A wave, the B wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's done and dusted, and we just counted a little possible 5 waves coming down here. Is it, you know, it's normal for it to have a reaction at 65 here. That's the lower end of group 2. You know, it had a little reaction over here as well. Can it climb higher? Sure. Can we look at this differently here? Yeah, sure we can. So there's a lot going on here. That's all I'm just sort of pointing out here. You know, we looked at it as wave 2 here with 1 and 2 here. I could put this wave 1 up here and 2 here. I could put all of this as wave 1 here and 2 coming back here and then continuing to move up. So there's a lot to go on here with all of this. Like I said, if we were going to turn bearish, then we'd kind of want that little move that we looked at here as 5 waves down. If that is 5 waves down and we're going to get a move here, or what's going to happen, then there would be like 3, 4 and 5. Now at that point we have a larger 5 waves down coming into support over here somewhere. Now that would be interesting on the downside, wouldn't it? So, you know, if the 65 became the tested support, then it'll be into group 2 and would be looking on the bullish side. But at the moment, because we can count up here as 5 waves, we just need to be a little bit careful. And if we count down here, we've got 1 5 wave move. We only might get an ABC here and then move up from that point. I don't know that. But if we get a larger 5 waves down, well then we'll have to look to short this. You know, we'll have to look to be short under here. And then when we do short that, we know we'll get another 5 waves, but this will be the 61.8% here, you know. So it might just come to here and then go up, you know. There's a whole lot of things that can go on, and it's kind of good to understand them too, because then we can just go step by step and take the next logical step and just continue to work it, you know. And as things pan out, we'll see. I mean, if this is going to be bearish, then, you know, this little 5 waves here will produce another one over here. Will it produce another one at that point, or will it be an ABC move up there? But if we get this larger 5 waves down, well then we're going to go down further at that point, you know. So it's kind of one fractal at a time, and until and certain, you know, certain points along the way we get to understand how far we can trade either long or short within those, you know, within that sort of fractal space there. So yeah, just to point out, there's a lot going on. We can look at it as bearish and bullish as such. And yeah, I mean, I like to take, I mean, Apple is the sort of core of the NASDAQ to a point, and so it can be, I like to take it on an individual basis and look at it in different ways, you know. So this is the other way that I was looking at it here. It's a little bit tricky to count some of this down here, by the way, and this wave 4 is a little bit big here, but because of Tesla and Meta and NVIDIA and a few others, I thought, okay, well, it might be good to look at it like this too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we can put 5 waves here now. So that becomes a bit interesting, doesn't it? It goes, well, okay, and now we're starting to see a little 5 waves down here. Look, I might have it wrong, but because it's a little bit hard to decipher, but let's just chill and see how that goes, you know. So there's a bit to do on all of this. This is just same thing again here. We can put this here. Didn't count that well up here. I just want to go back in and have a little look at that. Because in some of these there's different ways to count this. You know, I've counted it as 1, 2, 3 here, 4 and 5 for 1 and 2, then 3, 4, 5. I mean, we've got that pretty sharp drop here, isn't it? So that's kind of, you know, it's really dropped back within it. I mean, the first thing I do is normally look for the 50-60% of that last fractal point there. So we're kind of at the 50% here. we can count it down as 5 waves, but there's like the NASDAQ itself, we can count it down as 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So even if it does make another, if it doesn't go too much higher and just drops here, be careful about chasing it, because we might need to line it up with the NASDAQ and look at it like that at that point. Now, if the 65 here becomes the support, well, then we can look at being long again on that. So I know that was all pretty confusing, but we do need to consider this particular top here, where we're looking, we've been looking for tops, and is this it? Have we found it? Can we confirm it? Those sort of things. And to confirm the top, I want a little bit more of a consensus with other markets as well. And that's really what we're doing today. We're just going through a walkthrough, thinking, okay, well, let's just see with the NASDAQ here, if we get 5 waves down here, then that's going to be going, oh, well, Pete might be right this time, finally, So, we better pay attention over here for this. But if this just continues up here, and takes out these tops here, then we've got an ABC pattern here, and we can continue on our merry way to the upside. That's all I'm saying, really. So with Amazon here, this is the bullish picture here. So we can look at this in bullish terms and bearish terms. So as we need to. So this would be the bullish pattern here, with 1 here, 2 here, 1 here, 2 here, 1 here, and 2 here. There is a little 5 waves up here. The top didn't finish really nice and neatly, but because of that move there, we have to sort of acknowledge a top being in there. Now, if it was going to be bullish, then we would need to look at this as some sort of little ABC pattern here, and then pushing up there, and we can go along above the top, we can go along here. But at the same time, on the bearish side of this, if we look at the 50K here, then it would look like this here. So from the low here is an ABC for the B wave up here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 here, an A and a B and a C here for 2 here. So that paints a different picture, doesn't it? So if you're going to go along, you want to make sure that you're doing all the right things at the right time. So in this case here, we would also want to have a look at making sure that we're that we're doing all the right things here too. So because in a bullish move, this would be the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and then we would get an ABC pattern over here for this. But we don't want to take out that low. If that low's breached, then it's bearish at that point. So we could push up at that point there. So, but if the NASDAQ's got 5 waves down, it's going to be a little bit hard on this one to be bullish at that point. But also too, once we've got 3 waves here, anything under 3 waves, and then we can look to short at that point. So we can start looking at the bearish pictures for these. Are just get this picture back in shape here, because normally we look at the bullish pattern for these. So this is the bearish pattern here, so it needs to basically lock under there, but when it comes down below the level, it can certainly come back above the level as well. So we've got a bit of work to do. We'll be talking about this more and more as we go, so not to worry about that too much at the moment. So if we look at this bearish picture here and go to the 1000 tick here, then it would look like this here. So that's on the 27th. I'll just chuck it down here. So wave 1 here with an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. Now the C wave is a little bit short compared to wave A here, but when you're working with big numbers and number 1 is the strongest number in the market, then we need to be a little bit careful. But we could certainly look at this as 1 and 2 here as an ABC pattern, coming back for 2 here, and then going up for 3, 4, 5, and going further up at that point. But like I said, if the NASDAQ has got its thing there, then we need 5 waves down, then we need to sort of respect that. So this coming down here, what we can do is, we don't have to be in a rush to short this, but what I wanted just to point out, if this was 5 waves down, then we're going to get another 5 waves down. So this could be an A, B, C pattern, and then just move up from there, isn't it? But if we shorted under that, under the 3 waves here, then we're confirming the bearish pattern at that point, and that's what we're sort of aiming to do. Okay. The other thing here too is this low here that being breached, that would also indicate a bearish move, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then the B wave here. So anything under this would force this to be, I've got it as an ABC correction, but that could be wrong, you know, because we could have the bullish count. But once that's taken out here, then that makes it bullish at that point. I don't think I can look at this as 1 and 2 here, or maybe I could do that. I'm just sort of thinking outside the box, as 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave. Okay, but anyway, we'd always look for this top to bottom here as well. So this level down here would be the, you know, still a long way. We can still be short at that point. That would be the 50-60% at that area. So I suppose we could look at the whole thing up here as 1. That's possible. I'll just put that there, and I'll just mull that over a little bit. Anyway, we'll just keep piecing things together, and I mean, if the NASDAQ's going to give us a nice clear 5 waves down, well, that will be it. So do I need to go into the 100 ticks here? Don't want to burn up too much time on these, but I haven't really counted it down. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could even have wave 1 to here, but it looks such a nice wave 4 here. So we'll just play that out to down here. There's going to be a bounce off here, so don't go shorting it here. There'll be some sort of bounce here, you know. You can short the 50-60% over here if you want, based on that. But yeah, we'll just come back from after the Easter break and we'll look at it in a bit more detail. NVIDIA here reports on the 24th of the 5th, actually. So that's what, miles off. So I'll just put that down here. Yeah, this is one of the strongest stocks as well. So if I go, so anyway, I can count 5 waves up here. I'm looking at this particular move down here. We can come back to that. I just want to show you where, because today's not about making money. Today's just about sort of talking about the markets and looking at different aspects of it. So from wave 4 here, I've counted up. It's a bit wonky, but this wave 2 low took out this here. So to look at this as wave 1 ABC for 2 here, I'm okay with that. And then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, I'm okay with that, and 4 and this here. So we need to squash all that up, so that's okay. It could still push up as this is the other point here too. It can still do. I don't have a nice clean 5 waves down here for this just yet. I'll just remove this. If I look at that as 1, 2, that 1, 2, I'll do that a bit later. Sorry, I don't want to burn up time here, and I don't need these. So it is possible to look at this moving higher. I don't have, unless I take it, yeah, okay, I have to take it from there, don't I? Because I did all that work on that before. I remember that on the 100 tick. So, so that would bring this up into here. Probably change that a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll just check on that. So I need to take it down from the top here for this. So it'll be interesting to see if we. So I could leave it like this, and we could move up from here further. But I have to say it's dropped really quite deeply, even for this. You know what I mean? Even if I looked at that here, it's sitting right on the 78.6. So if this does give us another little move down here, then that's going to be sort of invalidated at that point. So yeah, I mean, and look, and also too, if the NASDAQ gets that 5 waves down, right? If we do get this 5 waves down in the NASDAQ here, then that's going to put a lot of pressure on all of this, and we'll probably need to call this a topic. Now, I can put it as a C or B up here, but we're also looking at it much the same as Tesla, and that with wave 1 up here. So, but still makes a bigger pullback at that point, you know. The other point here too, you see how it's in group 2 here, it's sitting in group 2. If the 65 becomes the retested resistance, then you know that it's bearish at that point. And you see how it sat here and it dropped through. So that even when it drops through, it doesn't tell me that it's resistance at that point. It's only when it takes out that low here. So it would need to do that. Do you know what I mean? It would need to do that, and then it'll probably have 5 waves up, and then it would come down again. So it's not quite an easy as you think, but yeah, you do need that sort of V-shaped bottom there, and then that taken out at that point to confirm that it's dropping out of this. Because if it drops out of this, then it bangs straight down to the 5 at that point. Okay, so then it's out at that, you know, it's out at that point. So yeah, so that's all there, and I'll just go back to the 100 here for a moment, just want to double check what I've done. Okay, so yeah, because when we spoke yesterday, we looked at this as wave 3, 4, and 5 here, but I said that gee, that's a bit short for 5 waves there. You know, technically it made a little top there. So we had that as wave 5 there, but we also had it as wave 1 being here, and that would be the A wave here, the B wave here where the wave 2 is, and the wave C here for this. So that's all good at that point, but that low needs to stay in place. Okay, so we'll just see how that goes. If this drops here, then you know there's a problem in this, because it will definitely be that at that point. So that low is quite critical at the moment. So this can be an A wave, a B wave, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for a C wave here. So we'll just see how it goes. That's the 38.2% there around the 270. That's the number to be working at that point. So yeah, that's that. And Meta Platforms is another one. I don't have 5 waves down here yet. Could it give me 5 waves down? Possibly, but currently it's just got the A, the B, and the C here, so we can have one more move up. So while the NASDAQ is you know doing its, it might drop here in the Asian period, and then have this ABC up here. So in the Asian section it drops down here, but in the next trading session it moves up here in an ABC pattern. And that's enough to trigger some of the stocks that haven't dropped very much to make new highs and then turn down at that point. Because with Meta stock here, Meta Platforms, I always get that wrong. I need to focus a bit more. It's not dyslexia, it's just stupidity, laziness. So let me just go back to a bullish count here for a moment so we can just see the bigger picture here. So yeah, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Haven't seen this bigger picture for. So we're looking at one more little top here. Is that what we're looking at, or is that the top there now? That type of thing. Do you know what I mean? And I know that when we're working with big numbers here, this is like the first high above the level. So you know, it's it gets a lot of pull from this. You know, it's only when it gets on top of group 1, which is the 230, that it separates from this. You know, this is from 230 here down to 165 here, basically. That's the swing range for that. I mean, which is quite big, really, but that's what it is, you know. So all of this is caught in the, you know, group 1 and group 2 here. That's the swing range for all of that. In this case, it's quite meaningful. It's a lot, but anyway, we just keep breaking down the problem. But yeah, I mean, the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and somewhere in here we're going to be looking for the ABC pattern to come into play. That's what we're looking for here. You know, when this happens, banks will make new lows, and Google can make new lows, and you know, all those stocks that haven't risen very much. And that, you know, probably, you know, we figured that if it was going to come from anything, it's going to be the earnings. I mean, really, the markets are waiting for the earnings. I would imagine that, you know, commercial money would be waiting for the earnings, you know. Some of the braver ones will be, you know, be in this you know, picking up the yield in this volatility market, because the equities are the only ones that are going up. You know what I mean? So it takes a bit of intestinal fortitude for folks to be trading long. But at this point, with Netflix here, we looked at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up here. I wonder if I could look at it as an A and a B and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. Can I do that? Because I'm just worried about this situation over here, you know. I can't see how it fits into the bigger picture of everything, you know. But like I said before, we're at the 61.8%. We're at number 5 here. You don't want to be going long, and now we're seeing this. We could probably look at that as 5 waves down here. I'm not going to worry about it today with this one, but it should be, you know, we should be pulling back in here for this. So yeah, if you're long, you're being told. Okay, Enphase here. Yeah, I'm not quite sure about all of this, but the thing was, it did drop quite quickly overnight. We had 5 waves here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I was looking, I had a couple of counts here, as you may know, so we were looking for wave 2 to pull back up here in one of the cases. It didn't pull back up there, so I need to put that there, and I need to look at this as as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So that brings in the 3rd wave here. If this is going to be a 4th wave, the 4th wave 38.2 will probably be around there, around the 4th wave of 1 lesser degree. I'll see how that sort of plays out. And then we'll get wave 5 down here, which will come down and bounce off the 180 here. This will be the first bounce is always the biggest. So this one here, let's just imagine that this occurs, we get this move down here, then that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, right? So at that point, we would get an A and a B and a C wave here, and then we would come down again. So the short trade is over here. The short trade is the retest here. The short trade is getting the first little 5 waves down here with a move back here. The short trade is here. So this is where we need to get it over here for this. And we can do that over here because we'll have that 5 waves here. And then we can look at this as the A, the B, and the C wave here for that. As it stands at the moment, we could look at this as a B wave down here, as a 3 wave move here, because we're coming back a little bit. We're in this kind of weird correction here, you know. I'm not really even happy putting the B wave here. It's a little bit small, you know. Maybe this is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 to the downside. It's quite a big wave 2 here. So there's a couple of different ways, but, you know, our target area for this is down here. And, you know, it moved down quite sharply. I know most of the markets did as well, but this is what we're seeing with lithium as well, lithium stocks, you know, US lithium stocks. So I know this is technology and lithium something else, but they're all contributing to the same industry, do you know? They're all connected. It's all connected to a point, you know. So I think it's okay to look at it. I know it's a little bit weird and stuff, but who isn't a little bit weird? I don't know how Shakespeare put it, but we're all a little strange. So let's just see if we get this 5th wave here, right? If we get that, then we know where we are. We can short it over here, and we can catch this 3rd wave down at that point. So that will be juicy, that one. Okay. Rightio, so over to Google. So with Google here, you know, I've just been looking at it as an A wave here, and then looking at all of this being corrective here. You can look at it as being bullish because, you know, this low didn't take out this low, so everything, but it's a long shot looking at this as being bullish here. It's possible. You know, and we were looking for 5 waves up here, didn't quite get it. But if the rest of the market's going to turn, we've got increasing volume to the upside. Let me just have a look at the volume, actually. Let me just bring up a chart here. This is daily chart here. Just want to have a look at a few of them. So we can see with Apple here, for example, we spent the last few days moving up, but on lower volume. And then we got the drop here on larger volume. That's Apple. Let's just have a little look at a couple of these. Let's just see what's going on here. I think TradingView sort of add the volume a little bit later. NVIDIA, slightly lower volume coming into this section. Meta, not increasing volume here. We're expecting one more little move up there. Netflix, this is all lower volume going up there. I should have been looking at this before. I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to move it over to the left here because I've got some little icons here that I can't see past. But yeah, I should have been looking at the volume, but because I use a CFD trading platform to do the videos on, which is a market maker, and market makers need to make their own market, so the volume may not be accurate, and I look at it as more of an indicator. So that's why I'm just using the TradingView here. But I don't know how they add their I don't know if they add their volume in. I don't know how timely they do that. But we can see here this whole move up here has really been sort of diminishing, hasn't it? You know, I mean, corrections, these two here on lower volume, but you'd expect that. But these ones here that have moved up here, not good. So Enphase, this should be interesting. Well, it's pretty wild and choppy in there, so a bit whole lot going on in there. But yeah, the fact that also too that the fact that this bar here has dropped down below here, right? That makes it now, that makes that an A and a B and a C wave as a corrective move. It confirms it. Do you know what I mean? It confirms this move from this point to that point. And because it confirms it, that means that this low will be taken out in due course. Now, a whole lot of other stuff could happen over here. And this is where, you know, we need to be a little bit mindful about things. But having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here with a bounce and then going back up here, it'll be great if it doesn't take that low out here. It would be good if it stays above that, because then we still know it needs to take it out. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, rather than some sort of A wave here, and then an A and a B and 5 waves down for the C wave here. Tesla, just want to have a look at the volume on some of these here. Not much to say there. Just that sort of lower volume there. Microsoft as well, pushing up, but on lower volume. So yeah, so basically, you know, all of these moves up here that we're looking at really have been on lower volume, you know. Anyway, with Alphabet here, I'm looking at it as an A and a B and a C for the A wave, the B wave here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this. Now, could this get bigger and go up here further? Yeah, sure. But, you know, we've got to make a stand somewhere. Is that top in here? Have we, you know, have we taken this top out here? It's got kind of a double top there. Is it possible for it to move up here further? Can we count 5 waves up here clearly and all of that? Is there one more little high like Meta platforms and so on? Not sure, but all we need to do really, if we're going to be bearish, all we need to do is just wait for that 5 waves down. And then we can get that retest here if we can get that 5 waves here. Now, at the same time, we may just get 5 waves to here, and then we could push up again because we've got this 5 waves here. We could get another 5 waves over here. But based on the correction here, as an A, B, C for the A, the B, it fits this way. But you could count it differently as well. I know that. So yeah, it'll be the short trade will be in parts with all of this. So we'll just go back to the 1000 ticks now that we had a look at the bigger picture here. Or I haven't been on 1000, but so here I've got it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Now it's possible that we could look at wave 4 being here, I think. But anyway, that would be the picture of the top there. Is that the top? Well, now we need to confirm it a bit more. So in this instance here, we've been looking at it. Just give me a second to get that in the frame. So from wave 4 here, we've been looking at 1 and 2, and then we were looking at 1 and 2, 1, 2, yada yada, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave. So we're looking for the 4th wave here. So we're looking for a move up and then a move down. It happened rather quickly, obviously. Do we use that here, or do I look at this as some sort of A, B, and C down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Do I put wave 4 over here for that? You know, and then do we have one more move to the upside here for that? Is that how it's going to play out? This is the 38.2%. But I guess that what we can do with this is that we could be short under here for that. In fact, we could lift it up under here now for that, because this is kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, third wave, fourth wave. Let me just check on that. Even if that was all down for 1 here, it can't be wave 4, so it'd have to be all of that. So yeah, I think that could be our first short here. We just give that a little bit of green here, and we're just doing it as a part, as a part trade. Doesn't have to be a big thing, so you can expect to lose this here if that's the case. But otherwise we'll need to put wave 4 there and look for one more high here. It just depends if you have faith in that spike, But either way, it doesn't matter if we have faith in it or not. If there's another low made, then because if this was going to be the A wave and a B wave up here and a C wave down here, then you wouldn't want it going any lower anyway, would we, So if it does breach, we do have a top in, but otherwise if it goes up here, well then no harm done at that point. So I'll just leave that as that, but we'll start making a move on them. This is Microsoft, the same as well, in that, well, same as, I know that they're completely different companies, but I find they tend to sort of, they tend to sort of do the same sort of patterns to a point. The A, the B, and the C wave up here, and I've been looking at it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now in this case, it's possible to have another high here. I could put wave 4 over here, but I always had wave 4 over here because it was the same timing as the NASDAQ and Apple, and on the 29th, I think it was, or 28th here somewhere, of March. So that was kind of important. So if I put it over here, for instance, then I'll have to look at that as 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5 up here. Are you with me? So eeny, meeny, miny, mo with that. So it'll be the same here, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, so to speak. So we just need to get some sort of clarity on the turn here, really. That's the thing. So this is the 28th or 29th of March here. And that's, but I know that we could look at that as wave 1 here. And it might be the right thing to do, but if that's wave 1, then this has got to be wave 2 here. This has got to be wave 3. This has got to be wave 4 here, and then wave 5 here. So it can be like that. So I don't know. So, but we don't have to do too much. We're just going, shit, do we have a top in? Is it or not? So we're just mulling it all over and checking on it. We're just going to go into the 100 ticks now. So one of the things would be that this is 100 ticks, if we're going to consider this a top, then we would need 5 waves down for this. So as a 38.2% correction at this point, we're right on the 38.2%. So we could have this, just looking at the other one here, as the wave 4 here for that. It kind of looks like 5 waves down, doesn't it? And especially, not that we have to rush into anything on the short side anyway, but what about if it did make another move down here? Well, then that's kind of bringing it down a bit too much closer to wave 1 here or here on that. There's different ways to look at that. But it doesn't really matter, because if we're going to get 5 waves down here somewhere, we're just waiting for the ABC pattern, and we don't want to short it in the next session, do we? I mean, because you've got the holidays coming in, So we want to be back in the flow of the market. So yeah, so we don't need to do anything just here, but at the same time, we could be looking at wave 1 here and wave 2 here. So we'll just see if we get that sort of set up. Yeah, we don't know if we got that top in there just yet. I'll just leave that loitering around at the edges of town. And Berkshire Hathaway here. So yeah, there's different ways to look at this. I'm not gonna short it. I'm not gonna short it above the level here. We're looking for it to move up. It's gonna probably move up again in the next session to make another high, and that's probably where it will sort of move lower at that point if we've got a general top in the market with all the markets, you know. Tesla here, we've been looking at this in different ways as well. So from the low here as 1 and 2 here, and then we can look at this as 1 and 2 here to the 180 area here. That's 61.8%. If that's not the case, you know, because you could kind of get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of this, so that's okay with that. Would we go long here? No, we wouldn't go long here. We'll have to wait till it gets support back up on the 200 here, you know, because this would be up for 1, back for 2, up for 1, back for 2. This would be up for 1, back for 2, up for 1, back for 2. So we to get our timing right, we want to be over here for that to be long, you know, and that way it helps us be right as well, you know. That's the point there. So just steady she goes, Captain. So the other move here is that we look at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 down here. That's the other side to the coin, and we'll just go in and look at these. So I'll just go to the 5K here. I'm not sure what I've done here, but okay, so this would be the bullish count at this point. I'm just going to remove that, and I can just leave that there. That's all good. So yeah, so wave 2 here, and then wave 1, ABC for wave 2. Like I said, we don't have to do anything unless we get support back on the 200. That's all pretty simple, isn't it? So we'll leave it at that for the long side anyway. The short side, I'll just go to 1000 here. So the short side, that leaves that with wave B at the top here as an A and a B and a C for the top, and then we need to start looking down here. So we can look at this as 1 and 2, and we'll go to the 100 ticks, but basically coming down, the 180 here has got the support, and it'll be kind of in line with the NASDAQ. So we want to see it come down, and then we want the ABC pattern here, and then we can short under here for that. If we can clarify the 5 waves here, then we can short in the box up here as well. We can get a small position. We can do some you know, some fancy foxtrot footwork there, as my parents would probably do in their days. Yeah, that's that. Well, 100 ticks, yeah, so that's that. I did a bit of ballroom dancing. It was kind of fun. So just get some more data in here. So yeah, yesterday we counted this down, didn't we? We went 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got to here, and then I kind of fumbling around here like an idiot and trying to figure out this here. But I think I got to put wave 2 in here, even though it didn't get there, because we've got a reasonable 5 waves. You know, maybe we could stretch this out a little bit further and replay this here. But I did, you know, I mean, I did do all the work in here. I know each one of these has got 5 waves, but the gap in here makes it a little bit difficult. And not difficult, it just means that you got to move into the guessing game, you know, and you know, then you got to make a stop. So basically 1, 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd wave, the 4th wave, and the 5th wave. Now this is kind of interesting because this puts it in line with the NASDAQ at this point, doesn't it? You know, this box here is the 50-60% from the last this ABC to the upside here, whichever way you want to look at it. I don't have the C wave in here for that, so I should just do that. I'm a lazy labeler. Yeah, so that's interesting, isn't it? So this will be, so this is, anyway, the 180, it's got history. That will be the support. There'll be a bounce, could come back up to this area through here. You could short it. You might want to put a smaller position in and bring the curtain down a little bit further. Otherwise, we can look to short it over here. You can put a line through here as well and start to move in over here. When you look for this here, there'll be a little classic trading levels pattern here. So when you've got an angle like that, the price will come down, bounce off it, if it's got, if it's got a low and a second point here, then it's got meaning, and then they'll go back and check that. You have to watch your stops, because sometimes you get a second retest here and then down, but basically you'll see it in, you'll make mistakes with this, but that's why I say you got to keep that stop sort of out of the way at that particular point. So you can get it here, and then you can also use this 190 to get classic trading levels pattern here as well. So you can build in 1, 2, 3 positions here, and by building them in there, you know exactly where to put the stop for each of those. So you could be risking having a very small position and risking much less, and then as it moves, then you can kind of just keep building into it. I think it's fine to have lots of trades in on a position. It just gives you more opportunity. Like if you just put one position into a market, right, like say one contract or one share, then you kind of you're either in or you're out. Do you know what I mean? But if you got 3 shares or 3 contracts, then you got choices. You can work the situation, you can take part profit and still leave some in there, and all of these sorts of things. So 3 is good. So that's a lot of talking. So anyway, I'll just leave that there and move along a little bit. I'm not going to worry about Square. Once we can confirm that the rest of the market is to the downside, then, or if you want to see this looks a bit corrective here. It looks like it wants to push up a little bit. It's probably the A, the B, and the C wave here. But anyway, first low below the level, that's your short trade setup at that point. We can see that the move up here is on lower volume. So, and also too the fact that this dropped here, taking that low out here. I didn't like it because it was news driven to a point. Do you know what I mean? It was an event that, I just don't put a lot of credibility into little spikes outside of the normal flow of things. I'm a bit careful about those things. But anyway, I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. If we're going to go into a bear market, right, with the NASDAQ, then it's unlikely we're just going to have one more low here for the banks. It's more likely that we're going to have to look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5, that type of thing. It's, I don't think that, if like for Square here, for instance, if we look at this as an ABC pattern here, this is a little bit hard to work out here, but really this correction took a long time here, so this is going to be down here somewhere. Do you know? So that means that, and PayPal and Shopify and all the rest of them will be the same as well. So and the bank. So it's unlikely we're going to spend, a week coming down here. It's just I can't see it sort of happening. So we probably have to call wave 4 correction in here and look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and back for 2 here, probably just coming back to here again, and then dropping further at this point. So yeah, I mean, even if you shorted it here, would have to sort of, I don't think that, as a wave 2 coming back, I don't think we need to look back at from the top to the bottom here at the 61.8%. I don't think we need to do that because the rest of the markets will be in bear phase at that point. So it'll be lucky to come back and retest this floor here. At some point that floor should be tested, and it'll probably be B on this one here. So if you're thinking about shorting it in here, you really need to accommodate that there. But then if you're going to accommodate that, then that could be a little bit time consuming as well. So because if you're on the short side, it means that you'd be paying for it in some way, CFDs or time on options or whatever, margin, whatever. American options are different than European options. Okay, so that's it. Sorry to churn up so much time with all of this, but yeah. So just to recap a little bit is that Trading Lounge will be off tomorrow on the holiday and also off on Monday. if something in the US happens tonight that's worth mentioning, then I'll make a video on that. But it'll be nice to give Kittypon and Alessio and this bit of an admin crew to post up charts and things like that, give them all a nice rest as well. We're not going to be sort of missing much, and if something's going on, well then I will do a video on that. Marcia will probably send out an email on that as well. Okay, I'll leave it at that. And yeah, so with possible top in play with all of this. So we'll just see how the NASDAQ plays out. If we get a drop here, then you know the stuff that we talked about becomes a little bit more real at that point. Okay, alrighty, cheers.